The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and the Tech Insider, David White.
And another wonderful edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble and lovable and squeezably soft, just like Downey, host David White, as we venture into another hour of exploration of the stock markets and investing for, what else? So what do we have going on in the market today? Just a nice little pop out here. We're off about 50% off the pop so far, and we'll see how the market brings it back. Let me go ahead and update it so I can give you a current move, and it's 1655, up 5 points. We were up 10, 11 points, something like that. So far, 2.5 billion shares, so a little ahead of yesterday's pace. But just slightly. Of course, this is Wednesday before expiration, so we're probably looking in a narrow range over the next 2-3 days. Well, actually, next 2 days. Probably pull back a little bit tomorrow, and I mean probably a small amount, and then look to expire around this level, around 1650. It looks like they're going to at least try to hold this market up for a while. But not a lot of volume yet. I do believe that we are in a bubble, and I kind of remember the transition in 1999 and 2000 when the dot-com bubble burst, and there were IPOs coming out, going up 10, 20 times the IPO price first a couple of days. It had nothing to do with any kind of chart patterns for the most part. It was a free-for-all, a very tough time to trade. I finally figured out how to do it, but then it was very expensive. I suspect I will be doing the same thing here shortly, and that is I'll be buying puts on anything that I trade because the ability for these things to fall out of bed through the top of a bubble is very strong. So, but a lot of times, especially intraday, trading against basically items you have puts on, an excellent way to make money in a bubble. You've always got your downside protection. Most of the time, especially when we're looking at a VIX around 12 right now, the puts are very inexpensive. They're not going to fall off if you buy a long-term protection. Maybe you'll take a couple of dimes hits, but if you're right on them and you're long and you've got your downside protection, you can get these huge moves up and at least protect yourself from the worst. We're going to talk about a few of those stocks today, but I suspect that we are going in, and I wouldn't be surprised that if this market does just not fall apart tomorrow or the next day, that we can see hundreds of points higher in the S&P cash in a bubble that Bernanke will not be able to put out. Sometimes you start a fire. Most of the time, actually, the Fed has started its fire and has never been able to pull off the stimulus fast enough to not cause a secondary bubble after the first one. We'll have to see how that goes on. Some of the stocks out here moving today, probably the most interesting to me is X1. We bought this one as an IPO and turned it almost instantly. This thing's been kind of a big little trader. Did see a nice little Gartley pattern this thing made. The one thing I disliked was that the volume was probably a little too strong at the D point. Couldn't find anything in there that I really liked out of it. Still nice. Anyway, nice big range down on huge volume today. what is it trading out at now? 42.81, something like that, with a 2.8 billion shares. So this is going to be, since the IPO, one of the biggest trading days since it came out. Let's see, but you know, it's I suspect probably headed back in to this gap level at about 38. But we'll have to see. But of course, didn't make their numbers. Not, in fact, actually, hang on just a second, because I still have it. I really did a lot of work on this company for the Tech Insider. And will they one day be worth this? Maybe. The problem is that they were a very small company with some brand new products, and it's going to be very choppy out here for this company. But what I have in my hand, if you're watching Tiger TV, is one of the things out of their 3D printing machine. One of the things that they do that's very special is make a very, very large printers. So if you're making a wing spar, or you're making something else that needs a mold, they do and can make sand castings. So if you need a negative to make a mold from, you basically put it in there, put the sand in here, which is like what's called foundry sand. And what I have in my hand is just that. I don't know if you can see it that well. Hopefully it looks good. But, you know, if you don't need anything really high precision, you can crank something out in this thing, have your negative ready to go. And it's made out of foundry sand, which is pretty cheap. What it does is just put down a layer of sand, and each time it goes over, it kind of hits it with a little bit of hairspray to hold it all together. And, you know, if you need kind of a rough flange or any kind of metal part that can be poured in a foundry, even if it's made out of titanium, you can basically kick out a ton of these very quickly and have all your molds. So if you needed to do a limited run of a part for like 25 pieces, this one actually is one piece. I think they were able to make 40 of these at one time on their large format printer. So you can have a positive for every mold you need. They also make other large format printers and have just really started selling their first few units, but they're basically on the very large size, and most of their printers are like $1.5 million, and really just getting started. So this thing's going to be extremely volatile for a while. I'd like this thing to come back down. Kesh, we haven't even talked about the lockup period expiring, which is another issue in this thing. So just be very wary of these things. They're going to be hyper, and especially this one's going to be probably hyper volatile for a little while. Just know that on these IPOs, you have a lot of time. You don't need to get embedded in these things forever, or at least real early. Yeah, you can give them 6 months. You can give them a year. I like to wait until after the IPO lockup just to find out what's happening. One of the other recent IPOs, FIO, is a good example. This thing had not been trading well, and basically the founder over the last 3 or 4 days, I think he left today or yesterday. This thing got hammered down on the. Someone wants the symbol for X1. It's XONE, X1. So someone just asked. If you're watching on Tiger TV, you'll actually see it on the charts up here. But it is XONE. Anyway, on Fusion IO, this is another one. That's why you kind of like to see these IPOs come out for a while. It was one that I took a swing at for buying a pre-IPO. And you know, normally if you're a decent trader out there and you have a good broker-dealer, they can get you what you want. If you've got a strictly retail broker-dealer like Ameritrade or some of those companies that are really just kind of bulk retail traders, probably a lot tougher to get that kind of stuff. But what I was getting back to is Fusion IO. This thing got hammered down when the original founder is getting ready to take a powder. And what can you say about it? It's you want to see these things base out for a while. Without any history, it's very hard to read any technicals out here. No matter how much you love the company or you love the technology, it becomes problematic when you don't have any history on it. But X1 down on heavy volume today. Look for this thing to come back, and maybe after lockup periods are over and that kind of stuff, let it settle down. Maybe a better time to trade it then. Let's see. Oh, we were talking about, and I think Z in the Den was talking about. Was talking about what was it? Oh, Bitcoin. And it was like several weeks ago before I really even started speaking a lot about it on the show. But we knew that the FBI and some of these other agencies were going to be coming after them. They actually shut down some of the money transfer systems in that. In fact, a lot of the money that was supposed to go to one of the biggest exchanges, and this gets very hyper-technical, and it's got a bunch of weird names. But if you do a Google search on it, you can read the article today. It is MTGOX. It's one of the websites where you could go and look and see how much Bitcoins were. But what we found out today is Homeland Security is basically seizing accounts already for this Mt. Gox, which is the guy behind probably the biggest exchange. It's very hard to figure out what else is going to go on with that. But at the time, I said, watch out, because not only was the thing in a bubble, and an excellent thing to look at if you are talking about a bubble and how these things move, but it was also fairly obvious a system of sending money that could not be traced. And we knew it doesn't matter which government in the world, none of them like it when you can move money around that they can't see. And I knew nobody worse than the U.S. government. And they went after him and seized the money. Apparently, there are charges pending also against some of these folks for facilitating money laundering. Today, we have the start of a Google I/O. And they're already starting to show some things. Google did pop fairly strongly today, and I think one of the reasons why is there's been a rumored music service coming out, and it on Google or it was announced today. It's going to be called All Access, and it's going to probably the biggest companies I know that are probably going to hit on this is Pandora, the only one public so far today, but a little off of its highs out here today, maybe pulling back a little bit. I thought that there was one really good way that Pandora could make money. Talked about it in the Tech Insider. I suspect that window is closing for them. I like Spotify, much better product. Still not a public company to trade yet, but this All Access is probably closer to Spotify. We'll be back in just a second.
TFNN is excited to launch our brand new software charting program, The Art of the Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind software, Art of the Charts allows you to scan for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, butterflies, ABCs, and much more. Art of the Charts is designed to help you when scouring the market for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, and even months searching to find. As part of our introductory pricing, we're offering licenses available at only $59 per month. We're so confident that you'll love this new outstanding piece of charting software that we'll even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Lock in your low price today by ordering your copy at TFNN.com.
with the launch of Tiger TV. TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, David White, Larry Pesavento, Andy Hecht, Victor Jones, or Terrell Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments, and whether you're bullish or bearish on Chinese stocks, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you magnify your perspective. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
McEwen Mining is a high-growth, mid-tier producer in the Americas with a market capitalization of $1 billion. Experienced mining executive Rob McEwen, as chairman, CEO, and president, owns 25% of the outstanding shares of McEwen Mining and has put in place an ambitious business plan with the goal of qualifying for inclusion in the S&P 500 by 2015. With $70 million in cash and liquid assets as of the end of 2012 and completely debt-free, McEwen Mining is poised for growth. Production in 2013 is forecasted to grow at 24%, reaching 130,000 gold equivalent ounces, and over the next 3 years, McEwen Mining projects that their production will increase to 290,000 gold equivalent ounces, almost a threefold increase from last year's totals. If you'd like to find out more about McEwen Mining, click on their banner on the front page of TFNN.com or check them out on the NYSE or TSX under the symbol MUX.
Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And when we were talking last, we were talking about Google I/O, which is the big developer conference that they have going on. They've announced Android 4.3 and are, I guess, showing that. All Access, which is their Pandora, Spotify, Apple, iTunes killer. At least it's more of a streaming than just a straight purchase iTunes kind of thing. But I talked for a while, I think it was with Steve Rhodes one Friday afternoon when we were doing the Tech Insider Hour, and we brought up just how much the artists in Hollywood blame Apple for the destruction of the music industry in iTunes and digital audio, and just how much of it's being pirated. In fact, this year is the first year since iTunes came out that even slightly revenues increased from the previous year. They're, in fact, hugely down. The only way artists can make money now is selling their music to put in ads and concert and tours, and a lot of other kind of promotional stuff. The old days where they sold a couple of million albums, made a lot of money, it just doesn't happen that much. They're making a dime off of each download. No one looks at more than the hit song that they have. And if you want to go make some money, you better go fill up a big theater or something downtown like the Ice Palace to actually make some bucks. And so anyway, what do we have going on out here for that? Apple's a little off. Several reasons. We found out that the market share shrunk a little bit. We're starting to get that huge first quarter filings on a lot of these hedge funds, and we found out two things. Tiger Management, which is I think it's a guy's name's Julian Robertson, was the single biggest holder in 2010 of Apple. He basically was out his last 43,000 shares in the last quarter. He had added at the high in mid-2010, 127,000, never had less than 50,000 shares, even going back to the earliest days of the rally. Who else was it? David Tepper, who's another big shot lately on the Wall Street, especially on CNBC and Bloomberg, had 250,000 shares, and he's down quite a bit on his too. So we're looking at probably some of the biggest guys in the street. When this thing was up at $700, we're actively selling all the way through the last 6 months, and why this thing has come down. So we see the hedge fund managers, the go-go momentum guys, pretty much out of Apple. Probably going to see a great deal more of these as filings come through in the next few days, depending on when the regulatory filings come due. But just look at the first few out here. Of course, Apple's down on a couple of issues, but I think you're almost looking at Apple today and seeing Google steal some of their thunder, coming out with their streaming music service before anybody else did. And I think that kind of makes people think that Apple has a problem. But again, like I said, that we had artists actively running ads in the music business magazines, things like Variety, just saying, "Stay out, Apple." They were, how can I say it? They were obnoxious when it came into the offers that they were making. I actually covered the differentials and price differentials that Apple was offering for the streaming music service. Right now, for things like iHeartRadio and some of the other services like Spotify and Pandora, we're offering 5-10 times what Apple came in the door offering. And basically, they said, we'll make it up in volume. Well, the artist wanted nothing of it, started running those articles, and now I'm wondering if there is a business for Apple to actually get into for streaming. Could they get into it? Yes. Would it be a distraction? Yes. And has anybody made any money on this yet? And the answer is no. iTunes worked out probably for the first 3 years, rather interestingly enough. Unfortunately, most of the music now, still 80% of it is downloaded from like torrent sites, stuff like that, and neither the artist nor Apple get any cut. No wet my beak, nothing. No, I love that in the Godfather movie. Let me wet my beak. Anyway, we'll be back in a minute.
Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, gives you Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. With Market Insights, nothing is left to guessing. With the market at record levels, volatility is here, and now is a perfect time to take advantage of a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights. As recently as March 26th, Tom advised his subscribers to liquidate their 4 short-term equity holdings, closing out all 4 positions for a combined 15.9% profit. And on April 1st, Tom advised his clients to sell their longer-term position in AIG warrants, locking in more than a 40% profit in just that one trade. If you'd like to see the kind of newsletter Tom O'Brien sends out to his subscribers each morning, then sign up for your 2-week free trial to Market Insights today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors.
Daryl Martin coined the phrase diagnostic trading, and we're happy to announce that his diagnostic box spread analyzer has finally been released. The Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer helps you easily identify the best box spreads on Nadex in seconds, plus you receive access to the diagnostic deviation levels, as well as step-by-step training videos teaching you how to trade Nadex spreads so you can quickly master the mechanics of this simple yet powerful trading instrument. By pulling live data from the Nadex exchange, the Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer does all the math for you, calculating risk, reward potential, distance to break even for both outright spreads and spreads used to hedge the underlying market. Visit the front page of TFNN.com today to get your 2-week free trial to Daryl Martin's Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer and gain access to the valuable information it can provide when trading the Nadex box spreads. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Harmony Gold. For more information, just click the Harmony Gold banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Back to the Power Trading Hour, and it is disco free. Yes, we finally decided to put it into it. I said it would not stand, and it does not. So now you can freely and easily listen to the 6 minutes in between our previous host and me without having to listen to any of the picks from Disco Steve out here or other minions walking around that still think disco is cool. And, of course, you can always catch my 1,000 songs better than disco on on Spotify. And you get my playlist, which I think is much better. And okay. So what else do we have going on? Oh, John Deere came out and dropped the chalupa today. Of course, everybody kept on telling everybody last time that they knew nothing about what they were telling people. This thing has sold off before on earnings, and they were basically saying things are not looking good. The dollar is starting to affect them, and of course, the standard minions that say buy, 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 buy. Had the exact same thing, and that was that John Deere just doesn't know what they're talking about. Everything's going to the moon. There's just no way that anything in John Deere, Caterpillar, we just got to buy, 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 buy. Well, John Deere came out again and heard the exact same thing again. That is that John Deere just doesn't know what's going on. Everything's going up in the market. Everything's improving. And, maybe it is and maybe it isn't. But it just seems to me like the kind of crap that I heard in the .com thing, that everything's just going to the moon. And it's different this time. Always want to worry about that when everybody seems to believe that there's absolutely no chance anything can happen. But they are guiding down again, and exactly the same drum beat that before happened, which is there's nothing that they can do to kill this company. It's just the business is just too good around the world. Everything's going up. Makes me want to be a little nervous, especially when Deere has come back for the second time and told everybody to be wary about their future earnings, especially things are very soft in Europe and soft in China, and be worried. And, of course, we're down on monstrous volume of 3.6 million shares, which is generally fairly, is that right? Oh, excuse me, 8.9 million shares, which is about 3 times what we had yesterday. June COMEX gold fell $28 to $13.96 an ounce. We had July silver off very hard, 73 cents, $22.66 an ounce. Silver was particularly interestingly weak today. We had July copper down 3 cents to $3.26 a pound. So probably the big articles out here that I'm looking at today is John Deere, their forecast, Apple being a little weak, and whether or not the little pop we had today was nothing but options related, and we'll probably find out by the close. But I want to look back. Well, let me get this working just a second here again so I can get it updated. I want to watch very closely at the volume today. 2.6 billion shares. And what do we have here? Yeah, still fading, just up 3.5 points on the S&P cash after being up 11 so far today. So looks to me like a little pop out here without a lot going on behind it. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so that's a few things. And let me see what we have moving. Okay, UAL, DAL. Of course, everybody's saying airlines are going to the moon. Large cap losers, of course, John Deere we talked about. HPQ, this is pretty, I think you can probably just say it was predictable out here. Hewlett-Packard, HPQ. This thing's making an ABC down, much like IBM, I think is. We'll look at that in just a second. But when we look at expansions, which is off that $24 high, we'll look at them. It brings you right back down here. 1-to-1 brings you to 1673. I don't think this would have any real problem getting back down there. But this went right back up to the gap down that happened with a heavy volume. You've got fairly decent support at that level. That looks to me like where this thing is headed back. Probably maybe 1725, something like that. Fairly easy volume to look at, but what can you say up here? What you don't like is this move back up into these two gaps down, both of them on fairly heavy volume. The first gap that we're running into right now came down on 47, almost 48 million shares. We got into that yesterday with 18 million shares. So certainly visible evidence in the chart that we're going to see problems with HPQ in that probably for a while. We've got a few actually moving up. SPWR, Solar Power, SPWR, or excuse me, Sun Power. And this thing, nice little rip out here today, higher volume, what's up, almost 16%. Of course, all these solar companies up a little bit on positive guidance from SunPower. Even Zynga, a little pop out here today. Some people, or at least some funds, are out there buying it. SNGA. Just take a quick look at that and see if this thing's moving anywhere. Not really visibly so far. But there have been some funds in here picking up again. We're seeing some of those filings roll through. Of course, the ones that are not doing very well, some of these mid caps out here, CSC and Computer Sciences. This, boy, Talk about going right back up, doing the change and firing right back down, running right to where you would suspect it is, which is the first major gap. This thing basically had support between 42 and 43.75, something like that. What do we have right there? A nice little gap. Don't you like the art of the charts out here? Just makes it so easy to see. But what do we have? This thing came up, did not break its previous high, was within just, about 30 cents this morning, and this thing continued to just absolutely get torn apart today. We'll probably talk about more about this in the last little segment out here today, but very interesting. Trying to think if there was anything else we had going on. Royal Gold, probably another one. I just wanted to take a quick look at this on gold's weakness. See if we've got anything down here today. Well, you know what? Royal Gold doesn't look too bad out here. At least on volume. You are challenging the previous lows out here. April 18th, you had $50.20 as a low with 2.1 million shares. Very light volume so far. 670,000 shares. We'll have to see what happens. Of course, we get so much of our volume in the last 10, 15 minutes each day that we kind of need to wait and see how this plays out. But what do we have? Nice low volume test here. One of the few ones we've had in this for a while, and of course right at $50. Let's go back and look and see over the last few years if this price level has given us anything. Yeah, not a whole lot here. Under that $57 level, which we did break on pretty extensive volume. What was that, 3 million shares? But 50% off its highs. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the magic number that gets people to come back in here and buy. Again, this thing has been hit so hard. 50% off its highs. When it was that high? Just October 1st of last year. So what are we in? Fifth month, October. So 8 months ago, this thing was 100%, or actually, 100% higher. It's now 50% off of its highs. See what I did right there? Did math while I was talking. Anyway, we've got these very light volume low out here, under 700,000 shares right now. What else do we have out here? We had Royal Gold. Maybe I'll look at some gold stocks during the break out here and see if we've got anything else looking like it's coming back in here. I suspect we could get a lower in gold. I will find out what the contracts were. Probably, hopefully during the break also, and take a look at this. But we're off $30 right now on gold, and still off 79 cents on silver. On crude, this thing was down in the high 92s earlier. It looks like it's recovered most of it's back at 94. And Apple in the 425. Again, I wanted to get back to Apple because that is going to be so important for us. That 435 level that broke was a key level to start buying. You had your little pop out of here. Now, what are we going to get back in this thing if this is an ABC down? Let's look at a little better one here. Yeah, probably not going to get an ABC down of it short term. Maybe you can look a little lighter out here and see. Yeah, now it retraced too much. But a good shot at this thing hitting the 385 low from April 19th. Now, that 435 level had been kind of support out here for a while, and volume picking up a little bit compared to yesterday. And, of course, we've got a whole hour left to go in trading, and I wonder how many more of these big funds we're going to see have dumped all their shares, basically saying that we're probably not going to be getting into this again, and it is probably going to go to a much lower volatility and to hands that are going to hold it for pretty much the dividends. So, I wanted to see if there's anything else out here. CSC, THC. Why would they name something after marijuana's active drug? But anyway, Tenet Healthcare. I wonder if they thought of that. I wonder if they know that they're named out of marijuana. This one actually did go above its previous high yesterday on lighter volume and pop right down here again today. THC is the symbol April 2nd high, $49.13, 1.9 million shares. We did go over that yesterday. We've closed, going to definitely close back below it. Probably support 43.50. Probably the top of support as this thing pulls back. It is coming back with higher volume today. Let's see, what else do we have? Potash. My favorite symbol of all time when Disco Steve is chiming in on the IM here. My favorite, and I'll just leave it to your imagination, was POS. I couldn't believe that somebody used that abbreviation for their stock, and yes, it was. I don't think they're around anymore. But always a little market humor. You don't get much of that. Not a lot of people with real senses of humor around the marketplace. But what else do we have going on? I wanted to see if there's anything else. That pretty much is it. Well, let's see if I can pull a few things up. I wanted to look at some of the movers in the NASDAQ 100 today also. Saw some of these moving. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at those. Vertex Pharmaceuticals, of course, gold. And, you know, I think we've talked about this for a while. I was pretty much on Kramer's rear end for blabbing that we should be buying RIM or BlackBerry or whatever they're calling it today, BBRY. And, of course, if there's a stock out here that has the death rattle in it, it's probably got to be this. They did kick out their new phone yesterday to a giant yawn. No lines in front of the building, no anything else. Now, this is one of these stocks, as I said, that is making a asymmetrical triangle. So we're probably going to see this thing bounce out one more time. And if you were thinking about shorting it, that would be it. I will recommend against it. It's still got 35% short interest in it. Just amazing out here. But most likely, a lot of times what you will see in this, let me go ahead and pop this up. And that is, let's see if I can zoom in. I got to put a better drawing program on here. But let me quick right here. It's an asymmetrical triangle pattern. If you go pretty much with lower highs and higher lows, and basically the things, you know, oscillating less and less and less, volatility's falling out of it, and we're right back into it. If you get about 3/4 of the way through, a lot of times you're going to have a 1 day or 2 day spike that will break that trend line to the top, get everybody all excited, and about 75% of the time this happens. You get basically shake the shorts, and especially with a high volume short on this one, you're going to get that for a day or two, and then this thing will come right back down the other side and head back down. But I just can't find any kind of decent argument that makes me think that RIM is not bankrupt in 2.5 years. Anyway, we'll be back and looking at some other stocks that are moving in this market today. We've got WIN off 2%, WYNN, MCP off 2%, 686. What else do we have? Amazon off $3.54 at 264.79. And we'll look at some more of these when we get back.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to tfnn.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
Tom O'Brien's weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, has helped subscribers for over 10 years navigate the high-risk world of exploring and producing gold companies. And now's a great time to sign up for a free month-long trial to see the kind of insight that Tom delivers for his subscribers on a weekly basis. Every Monday, Tom O'Brien issues a quick update on the metal market, giving you his take on the HUI, XAU, GLD, dollar, bonds, and much more. Tom follows Monday's update with a full gold report, which is delivered to subscribers Tuesday afternoon with detailed coverage of 24 separate gold or metal stocks, as well as another 10 to 15 stocks that he lets you know are on his potential watch list. Get your month-long free trial to the Gold Report today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Don't spend another year navigating the metal markets on your own. Act early in 2013 and make the most of your gold and metal market investments. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Let me tell you something, folks. I have people coming up to me saying, I just can't believe the amount of work that Steve does on his newsletter. And I says, I absolutely agree.
That is a recent clip from the Money Masters show that Tom and I do each day at TFNN. My newsletter service, Mastering Probability, is much, much more than a newsletter. Yes, it's outperformed the S&P 500 by 100% during the last 15 months. But more importantly, it's an extraordinary education, a roadmap for your success. And it's yours risk-free for the next 30 days. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, and then Mastering Probability, because everyone needs a success strategy. For most, it's a competitive edge, the will to win, the drive to overcome any obstacle. Whatever you call it, winners find a way. Find your way to Mastering Probability today, because your journey to extraordinary rewards is just one click away.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And as we come back, we're going to take one last look before the end of the show at volume, and we're down to 1652, up just 1.5 points on the S&P cash, 2.7 billion shares. So we're actually on track to probably do 20% more volume than we did yesterday. Certainly at this time, we're probably up just a little. So looking for probably 4.3 billion shares today. I think we did at 3.8 yesterday on the consolidated New York Stock Exchange tape. And a little bit of a reversal out here today, and I have a feeling it's more about options expiration than anything else. Probably look for maybe 10 points down tomorrow, maybe 15 points. And right now it looks like they're going to try to push this thing to close out at 1650 on Friday. But there could be weakness all the way down to 1620. So not expecting a huge move, at least in the next couple of days. In this market. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. It's a little late today, but maybe you'll think of a question overnight. Or you can always email me at path@tfnn.com. If you get to me by noon, I haven't headed over to the office, I can pick up my email rather easily and maybe answer your question during the show. We see what else we have out here. Yeah, just not a whole lot of movement elsewhere other than this market. We did get to 911.76 on Google. I think some of this was on anticipation that they would have some big, huge product coming out the door. Probably the only thing that really amazed me, and I knew this before, but it's recirculating again today, and that is that the whole Google Glass thing and Google Glasses is very interesting, especially what they are passing around for, how can I say this, for developers. And that is there won't be, or they're not planning right now on any kind of app store. If you want to have your app and give it away, knock yourself out. But they are not going to have the same kind of app store for Google Glass. And I think some of the developers out there that had not heard this information are starting to groan a little bit. But it'd be kind of interesting. You know, I wanted to, I guess with the last couple of minutes, I've been watching IBM as one of the bellwethers out here. This is one that they went back and bought as quickly as they could after it got blown apart in earnings. And it looks like it's been trying to make a nice little ABC down. It retraced almost perfectly to the 618. You've got a little gap up here around that 205-27 area left to fill. And could you? Yeah, I think you could. But this thing certainly seems to be weaker every day. Not a lot of volume today. A little hammer candle out here, so we're going to have to keep an eye on it. And we wanted to be watching Netflix NFLX. This thing has been is probably one of the most overpriced stocks in the marketplace, next to Tesla. For ones that actually have income, you can go back and figure what they're doing. Nice little real high doji out here on a light volume. Look for a significant close tomorrow or open tomorrow for the gap down on this thing. If this thing opens around 230 on some kind of negative news in the markets or specifically on itself, look at this thing because we could be seeing a massive reversal. I was hoping to get one more giant gap out of this thing for a 3-gap play. And, you know, depending on who you want to talk to, can you call that as a 3-gap play? Well, maybe if you call that first one a gap. But, you know, these things have been huge gaps in the neighborhood of 30, 40 bucks. I would really love to see this thing test the 304 yet and then just give it up on volume because this thing's probably worth 50, 60 bucks. So not a bad company. Don't hate the stock. Just like a lot of these, wildly overpriced.